Hello everyone! The last half of the 16th and the beginning of 17th centuries are known as the Golden Age of English literature. It was the time of English Renaissance and it's even called the Age of Shakespeare.
Our video is dedicated to the greatest and the most famous of English writers, and probably the greatest playwright who has ever lived, William Shakespeare.
In spite of Shakespeare's fame, we know very little about his life because he didn't write any diaries, but it's true to the fact that he was born on 23rd of April 1564 in Stratford-on-Avon, a small town in the center of Great Britain.
In his childhood, William went to the local grammar school where, besides reading and writing, he was taught Latin and Greek.
I'd like to add that at that time there were no theaters in England. A group of actors traveled from town to town and played in different places, usually out of doors. Sometimes they came to Stratford. Young William wanted to see all their shows and liked them very much. He wanted to become an actor. Sometimes he wrote little plays himself and staged them with his friends. At the age of 18, William married Anne Hathaway, who was 9 years older than her husband. Their first daughter was born in 1583, and then twin son and daughter followed in 1585.
By the way, I know that William Shakespeare lived in Stratford until he was about 21. Then he left for London. I wonder why he left his native town.
It's unknown. Probably life in Stratford was hard and he wanted to earn some money.
Maybe. In London, William joined a group of actors. The most famous Globe Theatre was the center of London's theatrical life. Shakespeare played on its stage and wrote plays for this theatre. Would you like to listen about the theatre of the 16th century?
Yes, certainly.
Well, in the middle of the square there was a kind of a house. There the actors dressed and kept the things for the performance. In front of it there was a platform where the actors played. They came out of the house to the platform through two large doors. In front of the stage there was a large yard with 3 balconies round it. People came here to see performances. The yard and the greater part of the stage were open to the sky.
Sorry, do you happen to know that women's parts were played by boys and young men?
Yes, indeed. Besides, the actor played 2 or 3 parts in one performance.
The actors were often very good. They could play, sing and dance. The performance began at 3 o'clock. Londoners loved their theatre very much. It's interesting to know that everybody went to the theatre in London, both young and old, poor and rich. Poor people stood in the yard or sat on the ground. Rich people sat on the balconies and aristocrats were allowed to sit on the stage.
And one more thing about the theatre, it played a very important part in people's lives because there were no television, no radio or newspapers those days. They came to the theatre not only for pleasure, they came to hear some news, to learn more about the history of England or the other countries. They were taught the great science of life there.
As you know, William Shakespeare was an actor, a dramatist and a poet at the same time. All in all, he wrote 37 plays, 2 poems and 154 sonnets. There he shows his creative genius.
The first period of Shakespeare's creative work consists of comedies and historical dramas. In this period he wrote such histories as King Henry IV, King Henry V, King Richard II and King Richard III. Here the author showed us historical events and dramatic characters. Speaking about his famous tragedies, I can say they appeared in the second period of his literary work. In the place of this time, the author reached his full maturity. He wrote such histories as Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet. I think it's one of his best plays. It's tragedy, but it's full of love, youth and humanism.
How right you are! It's my favorite play too. I was greatly impressed when reading it for the first time. Well then, the dramatists' plays of the third period are called romantic dramas. They are The Winter's Tale, The Tempest and etc. In 1612, Shakespeare left London for Stratford. He didn't act anymore. Since 1613, he no longer wrote plays. Nobody knows what he did during the last years of his life. Eventually, he died on 23rd April of 1616. It's incredible but true that he died on his birthday at the age of 52.
Tired with all this, for restful death I cry, as to behold desert, a beggar born, and needing nothing, trimmed in jollity, and purest faith unhappily forsworn, and gilded honor shamefully misplaced, and maiden virtue rudely strumped, and right perfection wrongfully disgraced, and strength by limping sway disabled, and art made tongue-tired by authority, and folly doctor-like controlling skills, and simple truth miscalled simplicity, and captive good attending captain ill. Tired with all this, From this what I began, save that to die I leave my love alone.
It must be admitted that British people are proud of their great poets and call him our national bird, the immortal poet of nature, the swan of Avon, and the great unknown. Moreover, William Shakespeare is beloved by Russian people. His plays are staged in our theaters as well as all over the world, and are always a great success with the public.
And here are some quotations and interesting expressions from Shakespeare's play.
The beginning of the end.
Life is not all cakes and ale.
All is well that ends well.
Much ado about nothing.
Brevity in the soul of wit.
Sweets to the sweet.
To win golden opinions.
The ruling of time.